How many watches do you own?
It's over 1,000.
What was the biggest purchase someone made with Bitcoin?
There has been quite a big purchase.
Over a million.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Over 10 million?
Kind of.
Okay. What's the most expensive watch you ever sold?
It was $10 million.
I once came to your office and Floyd Mayweather's team was there. Have you ever bought like a watch that Putin used to own?
Yes, definitely. I keep a copy of those certificates always in my album.
Inside this box, we have over $20 million worth of watches. Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Vibe Show. And today we have a very special episode. And without further ado, I want to introduce my guest to you, Khaled. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So today we have a very exciting episode, guys. I want to give you a quick introduction to who Khaled is. You are one of the most famous faces when it comes to watches in the UAE.
Yeah.
And to give you guys a backstory, Khaled started from zero and is now one of the biggest watch dealers in the region, trading the most expensive watches. I mean, I've never seen a collection like Khaled's at all, guys. If you know, you know. So guys, today we're gonna get straight into the podcast. First of all, Khaled, I just want to ask, how did you start in this industry of watches? Because you have the craziest pieces. I mean, you have Richard Milles, Jacob & Co's, and the collection you have, no one else has.
Yeah.
So how did it all start for you?
Well, as you said, I might start it from zero. We mean zero cash, zero money. But I have tons of experience. I was involved in family business. My father was a watch dealer. So I had 10 years of experience before starting my business. Now it's 10th anniversary of Luxury Souk actually this year.
Oh, wow. This is your 10th anniversary of your business.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's not too long ago.
No, it's not too long ago. It's just been 10 years. And I started, as you said, from zero cash, from zero money. But I had tons of experience. I had knowledge, I had networks, and I knew how to get into this business. And I had proper good contacts when I started.
So you said your dad was in the watch business.
Yep.
What was he doing exactly?
Well, those days watches wasn't as famous as today.
Yeah.
But my dad was trading in pre-owned watches as well, multi-brands, all the Swiss watch-made brands.
So he had his own like reselling store or?
Yes, it's similar to mine. Probably they were not on social media as of we are today.
Yeah.
And my dad used to work for an authorized retailer in 1980s in Dubai as well.
Oh, no way. So he actually worked for the brands and made his own. So does he still have that or is he retired now?
My dad is retired, but his store is still there and my brothers are taking care of the store.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, how was it when you transitioned? Because obviously working for your dad who has a watch store, when you wanted to do your own, was that something he was against? Was there any problems there?
Well, I always say family businesses, they face challenges that other businesses, they don't face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my dad wanted me to join his business. I worked for him for 10 years.
Yeah.
But I decided to make my own destiny and to do the things that I want, to challenge my knowledge, to challenge my network, and to run the business in a very modern way. When I started, I had no support in terms of money and cash.
Yeah.
Because I was just starting.
Yeah.
And later on, my father saw that I'm doing good and I'm successful. So he just helped me very little.
Oh, so
that
he...
hardly a money of a single watch that I have.
How much
in
money?
stash
Do you
today.
remember how much money?
It was like 500,000 US dollars.
Okay, so that's after you already started, you're making money.
It was after 3 years of running the business. It was in 2016 and I started the business in 2013.
Was that like an investment? Did he invest in you? Did you have to give him a piece of the business, or it was just a gift kind of thing?
It was kind of father and son relationship.
Okay.
It's nothing formal.
Okay. Just making sure.
It was kind of a gift.
Yeah, because like it could have been like $500,000, but you have to give me your business as well.
Yeah, but this, a lot of new generation entrepreneurs, when they start, they want to have a big startup money, but it doesn't work really like that. I run the business for 2 years, so I proved that I know the business and I'm doing quite well.
Yeah.
So I gained the trust and confidence of my father, and then he injected some money.
So starting the business, how did that work? Because obviously You're working for your dad. How much money did you have saved?
Well, when I started the business, I was already working in a bank as a part-time. I was working in the bank, and parallel to my employment, I was running my own watch business as well.
Okay.
When I started, basically, I had zero saving, and I had a colleague that was working along with me, and he was the first man to help me to start the business because I had no even the money for the interior to pay for the rent. And he just gave me 500,000 dirhams. He said, Khaled, I know you're very talented in watches, and I believe in you. I trust you. We have been working together for 5 years. He said, I'm going to give you all my 5 years saving to you, and I'm sure that you're going to succeed.
Wow.
So that was the only money that I had when I started for the first 2 years.
That's crazy.
It wasn't very much for
a
the watch
business.
market. You know, it's 500,000 dirhams is like less than $135,000.
Wow. So this was a
And
colleague.
it was an investment, but this time wasn't a gift. It was an investment. We did proper paper. I committed to the return, but that money after 2-3 years, I decided to return the money with
the profits.
with the gift. I gave Patek Philippe Nautilus. I did not give the money.
Oh, so
Yes.
so this was a colleague in the bank that you worked with, or
Yes, it was a colleague in the bank that he was the first man
That
who
invested.
trusted me and invested with me. And as I said, when I gave it back, it was a Patek Philippe Nautilus, and the watch is 4 times the price that
Wow.
he
invested in the company.
Yes,
Guys, that's the best investment ever.
yeah.
So when you started, what was the first watch you ever bought?
Well, it's most those days the 4 major brands were not as successful as today.
Yeah.
You know, I would say all the brands were kind of equal in the same level, in the same floor competing, but today it's completely different. And it's always Rolex.
Yeah.
You know, the first watch I had was Rolex, and the first watches that I was buying and selling was Rolex. But I clearly remember my first Richard Mille that I bought.
When was that?
It was in 2013, and it was Richard Mille Boba Watson, the white one. And I remember the price that I bought it for.
How
It was
much?
65,000 US dollar. It was below the retail price.
No.
Yeah, and to be honest, my father was were very pissed off because of buying a Richard Mille. Basically, that was his mentality, that you're buying a plastic watch for 70,000 US dollar. I can buy a platinum baguette tourbillon brigade for that price.
Yeah.
I can buy a good watch for that price. And how did you decide it? And today, this watch at its peak was $500,000, and today with the big drop in the watch market, it's still 260,000-70,000 US dollars.
Wow.
That
That's
was
crazy.
my first RM, and that was the first experience I had in buying Richard Mille. That wasn't quite good.
But did you
I
make
s-
him?
I sold the watch right away because I was kind of worried that maybe it's not a good purchase, and I made like a couple of thousands of dollars, and I gave away the watch.
That's crazy. So your dad was like, "You're paying $70,000 for a plastic watch.
Yes.
What is this?"
Yes.
But like, he was in the watch market. Did he not understand that this is a good watch?
Well, Richard Mille didn't start quite long ago. I believe they started in 2003 or 5.
No way.
It's a very fresh brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, not everybody was accepting the brand at the start, but you know, I was always open to the new brands. You know,
Yeah.
I thought it's very creative watch brand, and they are doing good watches. You know, it's like goes with the test of new generation.
Yeah.
And all the people need these days, it's to label themselves, and these watches are a statement. You know, it's different, it's very comfortable on the wrist. Basically, it was an emotional purchase when I did.
Yeah, you
know,
liked it yourself.
I liked it. It fits on the hand. It's very light. The size is great. You know, so based on that, I made the decision of buying. I didn't even know who's Boba Watson because I wasn't really a fan of golf games. I
Yeah.
never watch. I just watch football. You know, that's my favorite game.
Yeah.
Then I I started to learn about celebrities while falling in love with the watches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So talking about that, that's a crazy story because actually, guys, for those that don't know, my first Richard Mille ever I bought from Khaled, and it was one of the craziest stories because I came to your boutique, and I remember even back then we were gonna, it was either I was gonna buy AP or a Richard Mille, and I called my mom. I was like, Mom, there's this watch. It's called Richard Mille. She had no idea. And it was like $150,000, guys. Just a few years ago, and I was like, and Khaled was like, you know what? Don't worry. You're not gonna lose any money on these watches. They're great watches, and actually, yeah, it was a great watch.
I remember you made good money on that watch.
Yeah, guys, I remember like six
And-
months later, I sold it, which was the worst decision ever. Like, I think I kind of had your first mentality when you first bought it. I was like, guys, it's a plastic watch. I don't know if I'm gonna make money or lose money in the future on it. Should I just sell it?
It is not a plastic watch, but this is like was the first.
That's like your first impression.
like
Exactly.
because it's watches and jewelries. You expect for that amount of money to have a jewelry. To have some diamonds, to have
Gold.
platinum. To have something.
Yeah.
It's not just the brand itself or the recognition of the brand or it's an statement.
Yeah.
It wasn't about this. People were mostly focusing on the material, but no watch industry it's going towards a different direction. A lot of brands, they're creating watches with ceramic, with the carbon, with the sapphire. It's not precious materials at all.
Yeah, it's not what you're paying for anyways.
And
So
I'm not gonna forget that the watch you're wearing, you didn't buy it from me.
I'm gonna swap it, guys. We're gonna swap this watch. We're gonna buy another watch from Khaled. There's one watch I want, which is the Bugatti watch. And by the way, guys, in the rest of the podcast, Khaled has actually brought a very special box of watches. We're gonna show you that towards the end of the podcast. But moving on, so you've been in this business now, your own business, for 10 years. So when you started, how long did it take for you to really make money?
Well, I started making money from, I put it this way. I joined banking in 2010. Well,
Yeah.
we should go even a little bit back just to understand how I started
Yeah.
and why I started. Well, I used to work in watches since I was in high school along with my father. And when I graduated, I was still working for my father. I made a bad investment and I lost some money, and then I decided to continue my education in Switzerland. So I went to Geneva. I did my MBA in luxury goods management. And when I came back in 2010, knowing my father after working 10 years with him, I decided not to continue working for him. And I thought I'm overeducated for a SME business or like a small business, just a small shop. So I decided to join banking, where I can challenge my knowledge, and to experience international business, to make networks. I think that was one of the best decisions that I made. And I encourage all the new generation to gain experience outside of family business and from international businesses to learn more about IT and trade. And then they start their own business. So what I mean to say, the money itself is not the major thing. The major thing is the knowledge. You should have experience and do not touch what you don't know. You should know the thing very well before investing in it.
Yeah.
So in 2010, I worked for a bank till 2015. I started my watch business in 2013 when I was like halfway of my banking career.
Yeah.
I already was doing some watch business on the side, like it was a support to my family.
Yeah.
And I was making some money. So it's not like in 2013 when I started, I made my first sale and that was the first time I made money in watches.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like that. I always was trading in watches as a hobby on the side, but it's officially started in 2013 when I did the business. But I remember the first month I just had 3 sales in the entire month.
And how much money would 3 sales make you? Do you remember?
Not really much. I was just covering the cost.
Expenses.
My goal was not to go under debt or not to lose the money. I never thought one day I will be trading in the most expensive watches in the world.
So you said you made a mistake. What was that mistake? How much money did you lose on the
Well,
mistake?
it was in 2010, right after my graduation from the university. I
Yeah.
had some money from my father. I invested in a business in Dubai. Probably I had a good knowledge of accounting, and I would say I was a good student, but I wasn't in a business. I did not have an experience. Basically, in university, you learn the theories, but when you come to the market, you should know who to trust, who not to trust,
Yeah.
and what worth buying, what doesn't worth buying, where to invest, where not to invest. I didn't know all this, but I was good in numbers. I was good a student, basically.
Yeah.
So I trusted the wrong person. And the business that time, it was in 2010, that was when the last crisis here.
Yeah.
So it was right in the middle of a crisis, and I just lost the money because I believe I did not have a good experience, and I started probably not maybe at the best time.
Was it? But do you think the guy scammed you as well, or?
Yeah, I was kind of scammed, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So moving forward, now you're in the watch game, and you're probably one of the biggest in the world, I'd say. How has that been? Moving forward, gaining the experience, dealing with the biggest watches. Has there been any crazy stories, like where even with the experience, stuff has shocked you along the way?
Well, I treated every watch like my kids. You know, I love watches. It's my hobby. You know, the way I take care of them, the way when I buy, I try to it's not just, I don't focus on making money. I focus on doing my job very well.
Yeah.
I have quite good watch knowledge, and I put my full passion when I want to sell a watch.
Yeah.
And as I said, during, as all the businesses, there are some bad decisions, some good decisions, but I always took risk, definitely. Risk is part of the business. It's risk and return, what we know. But you have to know that since a lot of viewers will be teenagers, and I would like to give this advice, that you always take risk, but the risk must be calculated. It must be a calculated risk when you make any decisions in your business. So it should not harm you in a bad way that you cannot stand on your feet again. But yes, business comes with risk, and you can make sometimes bad decisions too.
And talking about risks, what's the biggest risk you've taken? Because obviously recently, as you know, the watch market has crashed.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone with you, which has millions and millions of dollars worth of watches in stock, that's a big risk. But how do you deal with this? Because that's a lot of money. That's like literally, like, I think within a week you could lose like millions.
You know, since the watch market has dropped a lot, okay, it's like 50 to 60%, to be honest. But what was the reason of the drop? I believe that Bitcoin is one of the factors that's affecting the watch market. Since Bitcoin has dropped from $70,000 to $18,000, it had really affected the watch market. And I'm amazed myself how these watch prices are linked with the Bitcoin, where the watches are coming from Switzerland, and it's not very much affected by Swiss franc or euro, where the source of the watch is coming from. Probably it's affecting the customer purchasing power, and a lot of buyers, they are Bitcoin investors. Well, in a business, I've learned that there is always a time to sell, and there is always a time to buy. And we have experienced this drop in the past as well. You know, it's like we did not come to the business 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and see only the upside of the business. You know, in 2018, where there was a crisis in Hong Kong, you know, there was a conflict over Hong Kong, UK, and China. Same thing has happened to the watch market. I learned from that time to be patient, because I had bought Patek Philippe Nautilus 5980 full rose gold at that time, probably for $130,000, which I had sold for $90,000. Then I had to come back and buy it back, in a year for $150,000. And now After the big drop, it's still $250,000. So basically, you learn from the business to be patient, and you don't invest in watches the money that you don't have it. You know,
Yeah.
this is a business of big boys. I always believe. I always say you should not sell your kidney to buy a watch. It's a business for the people who have excess cash.
Yeah.
As far as you can hold into it, there's going to be a time that you can sell it, because I believe watches are like money. You know, the currencies, there is euro, pound, dollar, and there is a currency called watches. I look at them like that.
Yeah.
So there is always a time when to sell. If you're patient, long term, all these watches are investment. Still, I tell you today, even the watch market has dropped halfway. I believe the watch market will catch up with the peak numbers. But
No way.
it's not going to happen a week or in a month, or maybe probably we need more than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, since we are going through the recession, world financial crisis,
Yeah.
kind of. I think if you don't need the money, you should get hold of the watch.
And talking about that, you said Bitcoin has a big role in watches. And number one, is Bitcoin something that you've ever invested in yourself?
I never invested in Bitcoin. Basically, I don't invest in anything that I don't have knowledge about it.
Yeah.
But a lot of my customers are investing in Bitcoins, and the Bitcoin somehow indirectly is affecting me because it's affecting the watch market and the prices. I did not invest in Bitcoin.
And obviously, because you have a lot of people buy with crypto, and I think a lot of the richest people are from crypto. Have you ever dealt with someone that's just wanted to send you a huge amount of crypto? Like, do you actually accept crypto?
Yes, we do accept crypto, Bitcoin, and all sort of cryptocurrencies we accept. But, you know, I always use intermediary and just cash them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the biggest purchase someone made with Bitcoin?
Well, there has been quite big purchases.
like over a million.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Way over a million though.
Yes.
Over 10 million?
Kind of.
Okay.
You know that time the Bitcoin was when the Bitcoin fluctuates, that's the best time for watch business, because a lot of watch is a commodity itself. There is Bitcoin, there's a watch, there is, you know, stock, bonds, shares. You know, it's just, I see it in those levels. And for me, the watches are even a better investment because it's tangible asset. You know?
Yeah.
I noticed that when the world goes through difficult economic time, always watch prices, they kind of increase because the investors believe more in tangible assets rather than
Digital assets?
shares. And yeah.
So talking about that, you also deal with a lot of celebrities.
Yes.
I think I once came to your office and Floyd Mayweather's team was there.
Yeah.
You have like pretty much all the celebrities. Who do you say is the biggest celebrity that bought a watch from you?
Well, we have a lot of celebrities as a customer, but we normally don't disclose their name or show them on my social media because of some reasons that sometimes they have contract with other brands and they're not supposed to be on a parallel watch dealer social media, you know, sometimes because of this and for their privacy, you know, it just we keep it confidential. But some celebrities, they just kind of them, they don't mind. They said it's okay.
Who's one that we can talk about?
You know, we had Floyd the other day, and we had the Indian Bollywood Sanjay Dutt. You have seen my father along with him, and you know, Amro Diab is
a good client.
Is a very well-known gentleman. Is one of the richest Arab singer probably.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and there are quite a few.
So it's funny actually, you mentioned Floyd Mayweather. I think he had a contract with Hublot. This is a video I saw online, and I think he just came out of like the Rolex boutique, and then I think he remembered that he has a contract with Hublot. He was like, I just bought this Rolex, but Hublot is amazing, guys. And everyone took that video and was like, yo, what's going on, you know?
Yeah. And you know, I think one of the most major part of my success is the Dubai city itself.
Yeah.
You know, Dubai always have great strategy for the businesses. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of the best places in the world to do business. You know, when we went through COVID, probably the whole world were shut down, but Dubai was doing quite well, and you know, everything was so well managed.
Yeah.
So the businesses were kind of running, and you know, even watch prices were going up, and the same time we had the upper hand than other dealers all around the world. So the Dubai city, with the system that they have, with the security, you know, with the type of collection of watches that we have in the shop,
Yeah.
you cannot do this business anywhere else in the world. You know, it's not
It's really
easy.
safe here,
You know,
yeah.
it's very safe. It's you know, Dubai police is very supportive. You know, the system is always in place and they cooperate. It's
Yeah,
you know,
it's
you
a-
need these things, you know, to run a business like us.
Yeah. Now talking about it, obviously it's super safe here, but has there ever been a time where someone's stolen a watch?
No, we never had the experience of somebody kind of basically attacking our store or getting to the store. You know,
Like, did anyone try and like put a watch in their pocket and like change?
No, you know, because Dubai is very,
Yeah.
very serious with this kind of
Yeah.
actions. They take it very, very serious. You know, there is a criminal offense. You know, there is a jail. They do eye scan. They do.
Yeah, Dubai's like the
fingerprint,
safest city
and,
for
you know,
everything.
they jail you. You need to pay back. They deport you forever. You know, the procedure is very,
Very strict,
very
yeah.
strict.
And guys, that's the thing about Dubai. Like, guys don't know. Like, I always say, everyone asks why is it the safest place? Because in other countries, you could steal and that's it. You might get a fine or that's it, and you're out again. In Dubai, it's like you're not coming back. You know, that's it. Like,
Yes.
we don't accept crime.
You know, saying that, we had ridiculous cases where we forgot the watch on the customer wrist. You know,
No.
yeah, once it happened with a very big celebrity with few millions of followers online. You know, the celebrity just didn't know that he's wearing a watch, and he walked out. And yeah, we got the watch back. You know, we had the cases like this where there has been an honest mistake, but somebody walking in forcing us to
give
hand
the-
over the watches. You know, like, no,
It's never happened.
no, that's not even the concern for us.
Actually, I think I've seen that happen. Like, sometimes you're trying on watches and you just like walk out, you forget. But talking about it, so you're in the business of luxury watches right now. What's the most expensive watch you ever sold?
Most expensive watch, probably. You know, it's always Patek and Richard Mille.
The
It's
most
always-
expensive.
Yeah, it's always Patek and Richard Mille. You know, they have many pieces. The price is almost in the same. If you're seeking a number,
Yeah.
I would say it was $10 million.
For one watch.
Yes.
Wow. And someone that buys a $10 million watch, like, what type of client is that, you know? Because someone that has $10 million, I'm sure they bought hundreds of millions.
So Dubai is a destination for luxury people. You know, it has been really changed during all these years. No, it's the same level of people. They invest in the Palm. They invest in Emirate Hills. It's the people with the high profile. They're super rich. I believe that money has no meaning when it comes. You know, you buy a watch for $10 million. I mean, these guys, they are big car collectors. They have summer villas. You know, they have private jet. You cannot catch them. Every day they're in different part of the world, you know.
Yeah,
it's this sort of customers.
And in terms of like customers, how do you keep up to date with your customers? Like, you have, I'm guessing, like a phone book of like billionaire, millionaire, or like how do you sort your customer database, you know?
Well, you know, we get so much of online inquiries. We see the customers even if they have profile or not. It's just like the boutique, but we don't just say it. You know, I tag them as a VIP and just a routine customer or regular customer. We tag them internally, and I take care of VIP customers myself personally, and I assist the rest of the customers. But since I have a limited time, I cannot help every single customer.
Yeah.
I focus on high-end brands like AP and Richard Mille and Patek Philippe myself, and any watch that's above $500,000 dirham. So I assist personally.
So obviously, being in the watch business is a very hard business, right?
Yeah.
I'd say a lot of people might see it as like watches. It's easy, you just buy and sell. But uh, there's also a lot of stolen watches in the market.
Yeah.
What's your experience with stolen watches? Have you ever bought a stolen watch accidentally, and how do you deal with that?
Well, it's a very important topic that you said. I just first have to say I don't know how some customers they buy watches without invoice from a shop, because what makes you feel you're safe and secure if you don't take invoices from a shop? If I'm a customer, I never buy a watch if I do not get an invoice from a store. No matter what, I need to have an invoice because that's the proof of purchase. And how do you know where is the watch came from? You need to safeguard yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Dubai, whatever we sell, we issue invoice and the serial number of the watch is in the invoice. And we are registered business with the proper trade license and history and record and a base. Always customer has to know where they're buying watches from. You cannot buy a watch from a friend or from walking people in the street. That's we see a lot of flippers and I would say kitchen traders. Some sellers, they have no watches. They just have their laptop in the pantry and selling watches and putting watches everywhere online. When you want to buy a watch, you need to see who's the seller. Is he giving invoice? Does this seller has a trade license? This seller has an office or a shop, proper base.
Yeah.
This dealer has a inventory. And what's the reputation of this dealer? These 6-7 criteria you have to go through to understand who you are buying the watches from. But going back to stolen watches, how do I check? Well, there are two ways of checking. I check with the brand, if a watch is very expensive, that this watch is stolen or not, through private connections that I have.
Yeah.
But we cannot check for every single watch because that's not going to be practical.
Yeah.
Dubai police has a procedure, and whatever you're buying from us, we are following this procedure in our purchasing. How we do it? It's very simple. Whoever is the seller, he has to be present himself in the store. Today we had a case, just example of today. We had a case from a lady. She has having 2 expensive watches. She wants us to visit her in the hotel. She doesn't understand how the procedure works. That's not how we buy watches. Number 1, you have to be personally in the store. Number 2, your original Emirates ID has to be with you.
Yeah.
And if you are non-residents, you have to bring your passport, which has an entry stamp of UAE.
Yeah.
If you have dual citizenship, you have to bring the passport that actually you fly in Dubai with it.
Yeah.
That's the requirement of Dubai police. We're gonna log in into an online portal of Dubai police, and in few minutes the confirmation will come. If the watch is with the warranty card or with the invoice, it's not mandatory to have a warranty card or invoice if the watch is old pieces, it's second hand. As far as Dubai police confirms, we're gonna buy the watch. So then probably you choose your preferred way of payment, and we do proper paperwork that you receive the fund, and it always has to be under the Dubai police camera surveillance that we have in office in place.
Yeah.
So this is how we buy a watch. When you buy from us, so we have done our work,
Yeah.
then you kind of save. Okay, but there has been a case that we accidentally bought a stolen watch by mistake. In the last 10 years, we had one case only.
Wow. And how did that happen? Because I'm sure maybe it was like you trusting someone you knew.
And the stolen case, it wasn't like somebody robbed on the street. It was a friend sold to another, gave to another friend, trusted him, and that friend actually wasn't the real owner of the watch, and he told us that he's the real owner of the watch, and he sold it. It's, we had just a single case like this. Otherwise, no. And it wasn't, as I say, it's this kind of maybe stealing, but it's not like, it's a different type of stealing where you trust
You trust someone or trust
yeah,
someone.
yeah.
Moral of the story: just don't trust anyone.
You have to know. You have to know the law, and you have to make sure that you're buying from authentic seller.
Yeah. Just don't trust the guys. When it comes to, because I was talking to Khaled, it's like, if you're buying a watch, it's okay to ask uncomfortable questions. You're buying a luxury watch. You know, you
Yeah.
can ask for the warranty, etc. Talking about it, so moving forward, what about fake watches? Has anyone ever tried to sell you a fake watch?
Well, we had a lot of fake offers. Every other day we come close to it. But actually, there has not been a case us buying a fake watch, because we know watches very well, and I feel, I believe that fake is never like the authentic one, even though no matter what quality they make.
Yeah.
The case of that we get to know the fake is how we identify fakes. When you want to sell something, the first step I tell you to send a photo on WhatsApp. Some watches from WhatsApp, I tell you whether if it's fake or not, because it's very easy. Either the brand never made this color or never made this complication, so you know immediately that this is fake. The second level, they bring to the shop. If I feel it's real, then they come into the store. So that's where I inspect again,
Yeah.
physically having
Yeah.
the watch. So, and if I feel doubt, then it goes to our service center. So where the watchmaker will open the movement of the watch and then they check. In the last 10 years that I'm in business, I never had a experience of buying a fake except one, which was last week.
No.
Yes. And
How did that happen?
it was a Patek Philippe 5711A blue dial, and it was coming from somebody who I trust, and so that even put me less to doubt the case, you know. And the watch had this Patek Philippe certificate. The movement of the watch was perfect. It was a real Patek Philippe, and the dial was Patek Philippe, and the certificate, the box, everything was genuine. But the bracelet of the watch and the case of the watch was not from Patek Philippe. So it was kind of, I would say, it was mix and match of fake and the real.
Yeah.
So we cross refer the serial numbers on the movement and with the paper. So I did not doubt the bracelet, and the case is not authentic, and I have to admit that it was very good,
Wow.
very well done. I couldn't say from the first time when I saw it.
Damn. And how much did you buy that watch for?
5.7, and that's what I always say. If the deal is too good to be true, don't believe it. You know, nowadays where I've seen online where sellers selling fake for the real price. So you know, it's not like selling fake is a crime. You know, and Dubai law is very strict, and
Yeah.
the whole world it's unethical exercise. Selling fake is illegal and unethical, but selling fake for a fake price. But selling fake for a market price of a watch, or selling fake for the retail price of the watch, that's a really much bigger crime.
That's
I
just
believe.
robbery.
That's a robbery, and I don't know what you call it. It's double robbery.
Yeah.
I've seen ads online selling fakes for retail prices, and some greedy buyers, they believe it. And coming back to my case, I bought the 5711A for 85,000 US dollar, and what was the market price was 95,000 US dollars that I found the cheapest. But this deal was $85,000, so it's very close to market price. So it's just
Yeah, you
with
just
the
got a bit of a better
$10,000,
deal.
bit of a better deal. So I believed it. You know, I thought it's maybe it's
Yeah, because if it was
somebody need a quick
50,000,
sales.
you would say it's too cheap.
Definitely I will not believe. But for $10,000, and coming from somebody that I trust, so I paid less attention to the bracelet and the case of the watch. I checked the movement, the dial. I cross-checked the serial number and the paper. Paper was authentic. Box was real. Everything was perfect. But I was shocked how
Yeah.
it's always a challenge what you said. Yeah.
Moving forward, so You said about the biggest watches you sold. What's the biggest watch you ever bought? Your own biggest purchase on a watch?
Well, I have a very big collection of watches myself personally.
And I want to
I never
ask.
talk about. I never showed to anybody. Maybe I think you once.
I've seen a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah, the most expensive watch that I have in my collection, probably it's 1 million dirhams.
Okay.
I don't really put in my private collection the most or very expensive watches. The reason is that it's very dangerous for me to fall in love with watches. Then I have to keep every single watch in my personal collection.
Yeah.
I run a business, so I should not be. I should control my feelings, I would say.
Yeah, it's like don't get high on your own supply. You know?
Then I need to put every single watch in my collection because
Yeah.
I see all of them. Every watch has a beautiful piece. Every brand has a beautiful piece to offer.
So talking about your personal collection, how many watches do you own?
Well, I never counted, but it's over 1,000 probably.
Over 1,000 watches.
Yes, yeah.
Wow, where do you keep all the watches? Like it's like boxes, like everywhere.
No, it's just watches. They don't require space. They all can be fitted in two
Just
safes.
two safes.
Yeah.
And actually, because obviously, when people listen to the watch business, it sounds great, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. But what's the most money you've ever lost? Like, obviously, there's purchases where you just had to lose money on watches, I'm sure. Was there ever a time where you like really regretted a purchase and you're like, yo, this was just a really bad time to buy a watch?
Most, I would say, in business, you need patience always to sell a watch. Every watch sells. You know, I have probably sometimes the most weird watches in the world that no other dealer are willing to buy it.
Yeah.
But I say always, if you have to keep in mind that do you have a patience to put this watch in stock for 6 months or for 1 year, or you need to flip it immediately. So every watch sells. But I haven't really lost money on any of the watches that I bought, except there has been a drop in the market, and that's an external factor. It's not in the control of me or anybody else. It's just the market, you know. And especially we are talking this, it's about 4 major brands that is being traded like stock market, you know, for very low margin, being traded in volume.
Yeah, because that's the thing about you is you always you have a lot of trading volume. Like every single day you're selling tons of watches. Like, so your margins are quite small. Like you don't try and like make crazy amounts of money on watches. And I realize that's what a lot of people struggle on, because that's something you do very well. It's like you're just trying to make your small margins and just keep rotating. I see lots of dealers that come into Dubai. They struggle because they're trying to make big amounts and trying to sell it as like, we're trying to give you an experience buying the watch. But you're just like, I'm trying to get everyone the best deal on the watches. Everyone's happy. That's my business. Yes. But talking about that, how many watches do you sell a month?
Well, we sell good number of watches.
Like is it in the hundreds or thousands, or do you know like an approximate?
No, it's above hundreds.
But above hundreds.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. I just want to say, so obviously you've set up a great business right now. What would be your advice to young entrepreneurs that want to do the same? Because a lot of people might look up to you, but they just don't know how to start. And what's like your realistic advice? Like how can people start getting into it? Because I guess it's easy to say work hard, go out there, but what's a realistic way of actually making it in the watch industry?
See, whatever background you have, you need a product knowledge in this business, and you need to have a good understanding of market. You need a good product knowledge, because you can be a good marketing manager, you can be a good salesman, you can be a good accountant, you can be a good finance person, but you don't have a watch knowledge, you don't have a market knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what requires experience. It's not gonna come in a year to you, or in 2 years or 3 years. You need to spend some time in that industry before investing your money into it.
Yeah.
You know, the market today is changed. So the market that we were experiencing during COVID time, those 3 years that prices were going up and up and up and up, and everybody could be a watch seller because you don't need any experience. You know, you don't need to give a professional service to the customers. People were trading, buying and selling as if it's a money. You know, it was like an exchange business. It was an exchange house, you know. But today you need a good product knowledge to make you a good salesman, you know,
Yeah.
to be confident where you're investing your money. So it's all about product knowledge and experience.
Right now, I want to get into certain topics. What is your favorite brand of watches right now?
Well, if you can say that if you look at my personal collection, I really don't have a single brand in mind. You know, I'm very open-minded when it comes to the watch industry.
Yeah.
Every watch has something beautiful to offer. I have to say I'm not big fan of innovate. I will not call this innovation if a watch changes colors of the dial or change the way the bracelet is fit or change the material. These things I don't call them innovation. You know, it's not creativity. If you change a watch from size 41 to 42, then to 43, you come back to 40. What is innovative about this? So these things we have been experiencing a lot, especially in the brands that's really selling, and you know they put less time for creativity and innovation. Their watches are selling no matter what they make, you know.
Yeah.
So this becomes boring, from white to blue, from blue to green, from green to Tiffany. From these are not innovation. You know, the watch independent brands, they're doing very good. I really fall in love. When I see independent brands, I zoom on them 10, 15 minutes just to understand the mechanism and how the movement works. This is what really interests me a lot. You know, it's if you look at them like MB&F, Moser, Grubel Forsey, you know, it's my personal opinion that these brands are, if you talk about movements and watchmaking, these are the proper watches.
Yeah.
And not any brand paying me to talk about them. This is my personal opinion. You know, that's what I feel is innovation. We expect much better from these four brands that's really selling.
Yeah.
They are not doing very much, you know, in terms of creativity and innovation.
Yeah, it's like every watch I think it's like Rolex, it's a green dial this time.
See, we have to know that Rolex is 30% of the market, even more. So no matter what they make, all the nationalities, all ages, all different people from around the world, they're just gonna buy it. You know, it's Rolex.
Yeah.
Rolex watches, they never interest me. But
Yeah.
I have a lot of watches in my collection, which is Rolex, and it goes back to the very old days. You know, the watches that's even older than me,
Yeah.
that I've been collecting them during last 10 years.
What do you think about, because you're talking about brands that innovate, what's your opinion on Jacob & Co?
Very innovative brand. I have to admit this. Very innovative, very creative. This gentleman is an artist, you know. But I think in terms of marketing and they need to promote, they're more rare, and they should revise their pricing strategy. And you know, I always say success, if you look at the Patek Philippe, they are very, very, very clear with their vision, where they want to be in gray market, in a second-hand market, where they want to be with authorized retailer, what should be on display in the authorized retailer, what should not be on display, or what premium they want to sell to gray market, or they don't want to sell. They have very stable marketing strategy. But some other brands, that's why people trust Patek Philippe. But some other brands, today they want to sell at premium, a day after maybe they don't want to sell at premium. Today they want the gray market, after tomorrow they don't want the gray market. They decide to put on display, sometime on display, sometime not on display. That's why the outsiders like us, like gray market watch dealers, I think they play a very important role in the watch industry. It's not like you say, we don't care about gray market or second-hand market watch dealer, we are just the authorized retailer. No, it's not true. Gray market watch dealers are very important players of the game.
Yeah.
So why Patek is different? Because they have very clear vision and strategy where they want to be, and they don't change their strategy. They're very stable. They know what they want, and you definitely trust the brand like that, and you put your money with the confidence.
Yeah. But talking about it, like Jacob and Co. In terms of their watches, do you think they're ever going to reach a point? Because I feel like Jacob and Co. is a brand that has crazy pieces, but in terms of like being an investment, people are kind of like worried about it, right? It's like,
Every watch, if you buy at the right price, it's an investment.
yeah,
You have to understand the pricing strategy of the brand. If this brand is selling at discount or they are selling at full price. Is this brand, when they say it's rare, actually it is rare or it's not rare?
yeah.
You know, it just, you have to understand the brand. Jacob and Co, they were giving high discounts in the past, but they reduced the discount now. And
Since when?
it's been 2 months that they reduced the discount, and probably I think they have the capability of cutting the discount.
Yeah.
And I think nobody is like making watches like them. They are very successful on social media. They're doing perfect. Just the pricing strategy, I feel, needs to work out a little bit.
How's your relationship with the brands? Like, have you ever met the owner of Jacob and Co?
No, I haven't met him personally, but we have thousands of common friends.
No,
Yeah.
I actually talked with him on Instagram.
Yes, we have thousands of common friends and customers in common. You know, it's I haven't met him personally.
Yeah.
I'm willing to meet him with pleasure. You know,
Yeah.
but you know the point is I'm very workaholic and I'm always committed to my job. I'm on my desk all the time. I
Yeah.
really don't go out
Yeah.
very much. So.
I want to ask you, what's your favorite watch of all time? Do you have like one piece which is like that's your dream watch?
I have a Figeon. I love it.
What's
Yeah, a Figeon.
that? I don't even know what that watch is.
Yes, they see this as an independent brand. They just make like 2,000 pieces a year.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to find their watches. Nobody understands the market of these watches. Only just watch connoisseurs, people who really deeply into watches. They love watches. They're bored of Rolex. They're bored of AP. You know, they want to try something different, and they go. Have you heard about a brand called Christophe Claret?
No.
Yes, they make crazy watches. When I see the movement, you know, it takes you time to figure out how the movement works and what's the watch. You know, so these are the brands that recently I even love them more.
Talking about that, obviously you've been in the watch game. You're killing it. But what's your next step? Are you ever thinking about making your own watch brand, buying a watch brand? Like these brands that you just said, like why don't you just buy an independent watch brand or invest in them, you know?
Well, I always had these things in mind, but as I say, you need a team always.
Yeah.
It has been a dream. I decided to make my own watch brand when I was a student in Switzerland in 2010.
No way.
Yes, I have a prototype, but I never carried on. I didn't work on it. I would love to have my own watch brand, but it's not easy to be successful. You know, there are how many watch brands there in the industry? Over hundreds of Swiss-made watch brand is there.
Wow.
And people know the top 10, 20 only.
Yeah. And I think
Yes.
they control the whole market. That's it.
Yeah, it's just most of the market is just 70% of the market is the biggest three group. It's Rolex and Richemont and Swatch. This three group and LVMH. They are
Yeah.
almost all the market.
That's it. They control
it. For main players in the market.
What
You know what market share Patek Philippe has?
I don't know,
Give a guess.
10%?
No. It's just hardly 5% of the whole industry sales.
No way.
Yes, and same thing with the AP. And Richard Mille is just 2%.
2%?
Yes, they make 4,000 watches a year.
Wow. And then Rolex has 30%.
Yes.
Wow.
35%, yes.
That's crazy. All right, I want to get on to the most exciting part, guys. Khaled actually brought a box of watches which are very unique, and I think we have to show them. But before we get on to that, this is a funny question because there's a brand that a lot of people like, I don't know, they have mixed feelings, but it's a brand I've seen you actually sell a lot. What's your opinion on Hublot?
Well, I think Hublot is one of very creative brands. I would say they're over creative. Yes, they're over creative. They need to cut the production. It's beautiful brand. It's beautiful brand.
That's what I think.
In terms of quality, When I talk to you, I talk to you as an expert. I'm not talking to you what's my personal feeling is, what's my emotion is about this brand. They make I have a lot of Hoblos in my personal collection as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they make a lot of models. You know, I would say sometimes whoever pass in front of their boutiques, they make one edition for that person.
Yeah, like at the new
They
edition.
are all over the place.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. They're too big. They should be more niche. They should not give discount as well. They should be more niche and just make it more difficult for people to have the watch.
Yeah.
I mean, just they can increase their price. It's a very beautiful watch. They make amazing movements. They are very creative. In terms of movement, mechanism, history, they have everything they want.
Yeah.
It's one of the key players. If I need to rank the top 10, Hubley is one of them.
Yeah. What do you think? What's your personal number one? Rolex?
It's Patek.
Patek.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I like all the watch people as well.
It's Patek.
One of my favorite watches was the Hublot LaFerrari watch. Remember that watch?
Yeah.
How much is that watch right now?
That watch, the official retail price of the watch is probably for $380,000 US.
Yeah.
And they made 50 pieces. LaFerrari, the yellow one, it's very creative. It's a sick watch. You know, it's for car lovers more than watch lovers. Yeah, it's very complicated to time and. But the watch is selling at discount.
Even now?
Yes.
Wow. All right. I want to bring the watch box, guys, because this is a very special box of watches that we brought for the podcast, especially. So thank you so much. So, guys, obviously, we're talking about so many watches. I want to show you some watches right now, which is something you don't actually ever see on a podcast. So, yeah, bring it in. All right, guys. Okay. So, guys, Khaled was happy enough to bring us some watches to see because this podcast is all about watches. Yeah. So, we brought some of the most unique watches in this box. One of my favorites being the Bugatti watch. What do you think about that, by the way?
When I look at this watch, my honest opinion, I don't feel comfortable wearing this watch on my wrist. The shape of the watch. But I would love to have this watch in my personal collection.
Yeah.
Every watch that you buy, it's not for wearing. I have a lot of watches that's very old style. It's nothing that you wear and you show off, doesn't make you feel good. You don't buy for show off. Sometimes you buy just to feel good yourself. It's self-satisfaction. But some watches, I enjoy more looking at them rather than putting them on my wrist.
All right.
So it's Jacob, the Bugatti. It's amazing piece. I just love to look at it.
Yeah.
The way it works, the movement, the tourbillon, the cylinders of the watch. You know, it's
an art piece.
It's an art piece. So it's not for me. It's not a piece that I would choose to wear on my wrist. Because the size, the shape.
It's a big watch.
Yeah, it's a big watch. Yes, it's a big watch.
All right, guys, we're gonna open this up right now. Inside this box, we have over $20 million worth of watches, and it's a small box, guys. All right, here we go. Wow. Damn, guys, this is it. Wow, guys. Say hello to the world's most expensive watches. Can they see that? No, on the podcast camera. They can see it? All right, guys. We're going to show you zoom-ins. So, getting onto it.
We even have more expensive watches than these ones. But, a lot of watches and important timepieces we buy, I'm not supposed to just show to the cameras. And, I just commit and give my words that these watches will go privately to end users.
Wow. Yeah. Guys, so obviously over here, this watch has a retail price of $7 million.
Just 7.7.
$7.7 million.
The small figure that you're living out, it's $700,000.
I just $700,000. I just missed it, guys. Like, this is crazy. And Jacob & Co. just released a $20 million version of this, the gold one.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
It's a jewelry piece.
Yeah.
Otherwise the movement is a tourbillon, a skeleton with the 72 hours power reserve.
Yeah.
So I mean, this function, what is making the most part of the price for these pieces? It's the jewelry part.
Yeah, it's a diamond.
It's the diamond, and yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna quickly show you some watches. This is Jacob and Co. Bugatti watch, $800,000 watch right here. If you have a Bugatti and you don't have the watch, you are a brokey. Like Andrew Tate says, guys.
Your collection is not complete yet.
It's not complete. If you have a Bugatti without the Bugatti watch, you don't have a Bugatti. It doesn't count. And guys, we have a couple cool pieces in here. One of them being the Richard Mille skull piece. Is it Ruby? Is this called Ruby?
Yes.
Guys, this watch at its peak was selling for how much?
Ruby is known as a king of color stones.
Really?
Yes. It was selling at 6.5 million US dollar. It's piece unique, one of one. It's white gold. It's tourbillon.
Wow, guys. This watch was $6.5 million and it's right now in my hands. I'm sure the last owner was like very, very special.
Yes.
Do you know, by the way, do you know the owners of the watches when they come to you? Like, obviously, do they always tell you, or is it sometimes you wouldn't know?
No, most of the time is the owners directly, because when it comes to expensive pieces like this, we need to make sure that
They're real. Like,
the owner is selling, is willing to sell this piece without intermediary.
yeah. Obviously, because you have the certificates. Have you ever bought like a watch that Putin used to own?
Oh yeah, we bought some watches that it's coming from the most VIP people in the world. Yes, definitely, because who can afford this piece?
Yeah, who could afford like a $5 million watch? Yeah. Is there one of the? Was there ever a time you took a certificate and you're like, oh my god?
Yes, and you know what? I keep a copy of those certificates always in my album for memory.
Yeah, just so
Yes.
you know, like I bought a watch from Putin. I bought a watch from
Yes.
Obama.
Yes, I do actually.
I'm sure you bought like tons of watches from Donald Trump or something as well.
Donald Trump? No, not really. Is he a big watch fan?
Actually, I don't know. You're right.
I don't know. I've never heard about him.
Who's the
Whether-
biggest watch person you've seen and you were shocked?
Oh, it's from UAE.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's from UAE.
From Dubai, guys. You have the private Dubai
It's
billionaires.
from UAE, not Dubai.
Oh,
Not Dubai
UAE.
specifically, yeah.
Wow.
It's from UAE.
Hey guys, there's a lot of pieces in this box watch, guys. I'm gonna quickly flash it up. If you want to see more of the watches, guys, I'll leave a link down below. We did a full collection of this box. I mean, you have let me try and hold it like this, guys. You have $7 million, $5 million. I mean, it's a $20 million watch box. I mean, that's all I can say, guys.
Mo, going back to your topic, I said from UAE if we are talking about a political person,
Yeah.
you know, but overall, who has the best collection of watches in the world that I have seen him? It's a billionaire gentleman living in Dubai, and I've been going through his collection. I have never seen such watches anywhere in the world. I've very well flied all around the world. I've been to the old watch exhibitions. I have never seen something like this. It's one of the billionaires, top 10 billionaires of the world that's living in Dubai.
I think I might know them.
I think you should. You know them. Don't disclose them. Yeah.
I think I might know them.
Yes.
Wow. And how much do you think? So obviously, because you have tons of private collectors, what's the biggest collection of watches you've seen?
That's what I'm.
No, but like how much do you think worth of watches this
Oh,
was?
it's countless. It's countless. Probably more than 300 watches only. That's over $1 million. More than 300 pieces, over $1 million. I don't care about the rest of the watches. That says $500,000, $300,000.
That's cheap.
Yeah, those, forget those ones. Like probably this guy almost had everything on the earth. Everything on the earth, regardless of the brand.
That's like definitely $1 billion worth of watches.
I was shocked, but I was pretending that I'm not shocked.
Guys, imagine seeing like $500 million, $1 billion worth of watches in someone's house. You're just like, oh,
And
nice.
you know what the guy was wearing on his wrist?
What?
No watch.
No. I thought maybe like a Casio.
I was shocked. I said, wow, I don't know what to say.
Why are you not wearing one? And that's the thing. I think these guys which have the most money, they don't show it.
They just, they have been rich.
Yeah.
It's just not, I would say, not newly rich people,
It's like proper money.
It's like, I feel that money has no meaning,
Yeah.
I come across a lot of rich people due to the nature of my business.
Yeah.
I always would say to have a dream to afford something itself gives you more pleasure when you buy it than rather when you can have everything with just a click.
Yeah.
For example, when I bought my first car, I had more pleasure, even though it wasn't a luxury car, than buying my latest Mercedes G-Class. The first car was a Ford, and I had more pleasure and I was more excited taking it out of the showroom.
Yeah, because it's like that first feeling you have. And I actually want to talk about that because I always discuss this type of stuff. I know we always talk about business, but how do you find happiness yourself?
Well, I enjoy working most of my time. My work, I'm in love with my work. I spend most of my time, probably 12 hours a day at work.
Yeah.
For me, when I buy and sell, I have fun.
Yeah.
It's like some people love to play a PlayStation. I just love to play with the watches. And, it's just a pleasure. I love it.
And the last thing I want to say before we end the podcast, guys, this was amazing, by the way. What's one message you'd give to people if it's an inspirational message, something people can walk away with from the podcast? Just advice, how to live their life, how to do business. It could be anything. Just one quote from Khaled.
Well, that's a difficult one.
That's a difficult one. It's always, I try to put people on the spot. Just what's one message you'd like to give the younger generation?
Well, younger generation, that these days I would say commitment and loyalty is very important for business. You should be, if you decide to do something, you should stick to it. You should not give up easily. You should have a strong personality. What makes you perfect is just if you commit for long term. I always believe in long term. You invest, you have to invest long term. You want to succeed in a business, you have to wait and be patient. You cannot go all the way in one night or 1 year.
Yeah.
You need patience. You need commitment.
Wow. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been an amazing podcast, guys. If you don't already know Khaled, now you do. If you want to check him out, I'll leave all the links down below. You can visit him at Luxury Souk. Amazing guy. And thank you so much for the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Amazing.